Hello, team. Welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan MS Pierce. This is a Ukraine war update extra video, giving you extra context into the war in Ukraine. And I'm going to be talking to you about a Firepoint factory visit by the BBC journalist Jonathan Beale. There's a 3-minute 15 video I will show you, but because it's actually dubbed into Ukrainian, I'll read you the article by Jonathan Beale that sits alongside it, which details his visit. Now, the BBC crew's visit to the secret facility producing the Flamingo cruise missiles and these other long-range and medium-range drones was one that was quite secretive to protect the location. Jonathan Beale was blindfolded en route and no footage was taken that could reveal the site. The project remains one of Ukraine's most guarded defense efforts. So here is the video. I'll take myself out of the shot now. And I will read the article to you as this plays. So it will be muted. So the article reads, the title is, "In this secret missile factory, Ukraine is ramping up its domestic arms industry." We're driven blindfolded to a secret location where Ukraine is making one of its latest weapons. We're told to turn off our phones, such as the secrecy around the production of Ukraine's Flamingo cruise missile. For Ukraine, dispersing and hiding the production of weapons like this is key to survival. 2 factories belonging to the company that makes it, Firepoint, have already been hit. Inside the one we're visiting, we're told not to film any features such as pillars, windows, or ceilings. We're also asked not to show the faces of workers on the assembly line where Flamingo missiles are at various stages of completion. Even under fire, Ukraine is ramping up its arms industry. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the country now produces more than 50% of the weapons it uses on the front line. Almost its entire inventory of long-range weapons is domestically made. At the start of the war, Ukraine mostly relied on its Soviet-era arsenal. Western military support helped modernize the country's armed forces, but it now leads much of the world in developing unmanned systems like robots and drones. And now domestically produced cruise missiles are adding to Ukraine's long-range capability. Irina Tarek, its chief technical officer of Firepoint, one of Ukraine's largest drone and missile manufacturers, whose Latin motto translates to "if not us, then who?" The 33-year-old once studied architecture, but she is now trying to help dismantle the Russian war machine, and I think that's her on the screen now. She cuts a tiny figure in front of the giant Flamingo missile, which she tells me is painted black, not pink, unlike early prototypes, because it eats Russian oil, she says. The end product looks similar to the German V1 rocket from World War II. It consists of a large jet engine placed on top of a tube the length of a London bus. They've already been used in combat, though the company won't confirm specific targets. The Flamingo is the kind of deep strike weapon that Western nations have been reluctant to supply. The cruise missile is said to have a range of 3,000 kilometers, 1,900 miles. That's similar to the US-made Tomahawk, the more sophisticated and expensive weapon that US President Donald Trump refused to give Ukraine. But deep strikes are seen as a critical part of the war, for which Ukraine mainly uses long-range drones. It is still losing ground to Russia on a front line that stretches for more than 1,000 kilometers. So Ukraine is increasingly trying to target Russia's war economy to slow those advances. The head of Ukraine's armed forces, General Alexander Syrsky, says Ukraine's long-range strikes have already cost the Russian economy more than $21.5 billion this year. Ruslan, an officer in Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, says the strategy is simple, quote, to reduce the enemy's military capabilities and their economic potential. He says Ukraine's Special Operations Forces have carried out hundreds of strikes on oil refineries, weapons factories, and ammunition dumps deep inside enemy territory. Of course, Russia has been doing the same and on a greater scale. On average, it's been launching around 200 Shahed drones a day. Ukraine's response has been about half that number. Nor is Russia limiting its strikes to military targets. Its long-range missile and drone attacks have led to massive power cuts right across the country, making life harder for millions of civilians. Quote, "I'd like to launch as many drones as Russia does," Ruslan says, "but we're scaling up very quickly." Ms. Tarek of Firepoint says Ukraine may not be able to match Russia's resources, but she says, "We are trying to fight with brains and tactics." So yeah, interesting that the numbers we had there were 200 Shaheds a day, Ukraine producing half that many, but they are scaling up, and I would really like to see them get to that point, obviously, and hopefully move past it. Dennis Stillerman, the chief designer and co-founder of the company, admits there is no Wunderwaffe or wonder weapon. The game changer is our will to win, he says. Firepoint didn't even exist before Russia's full-scale invasion, but the startup is now producing 200 drones a day. Its FP1 and FP2 drones, each the size of a small aeroplane, have carried out 60% of Ukraine's long-range strikes. Each drone costs around $50,000, a third of the price of a Russian Shahed drone. Russia is still producing nearly 3,000 of those a month. Ukraine still needs outside help, not least with intelligence, targeting, and money, but it is trying to be more self-sufficient. Ms. Tarek says they made a deliberate decision to source as many of their components as possible from within Ukraine. Quote, "We are following the principle that no one can influence the weapons we build," she says. They avoid parts from two specific countries, China and the United States. Asked why there should be no American components, she says, "We're on an emotional roller coaster with the US. Tomorrow, somebody may want to shut it down, and we would not be able to use our own weapons." Until the end of last year, President Biden, the United States, under President Biden, the United States supplied nearly $70 billion worth of military support to Ukraine. That was soon stopped under President Trump. Instead, he has set up a scheme to allow European NATO to purchase US weapons. The US is no longer Ukraine's biggest military backer, and Europe has struggled to fill the gap left by America or to match its previous support. Concerns about future US support spills over into talk of future US security guarantees, a key issue of the current peace talks. Ms. Tarek dismisses the ongoing negotiations as capitulation talks and says that Ukraine is making its own weapons is the only way to really provide security guarantees. The former architecture student also hopes that the rest of Europe will be watching and learning lessons. Quote, "We are a bloody example," she says, in terms of being prepared for war. Ms. Tarek says she wants to shock them into action and believes that if any other country had faced the same onslaught as Ukraine, quote, then they'd already have been conquered. So interesting there. And as you can see, some stills from, or some pictures from their visit and the video you've just seen, who they talked to. And yeah, there's a Flamingo missile in the making. An interesting article and some imagery there to match. It is all about Firepoint. I think that's so freaking important. Like the FP1 and FP2 drones. I mean, particularly FP2s at the moment that are hitting these targets, you know, deep within occupied territory and also into Crimea and taking out individual pieces of equipment that are really high valued, like, for example, planes and whatnot, radars. It's just so very important. Now, they're not all FP1 and FP2 drones. There are other drones that they use as well. But I think there's a lot riding on the scaling up of particularly Firepoint munitions. And hopefully we're going to get to a stage where they're just able to use these at least the scale that Russia is able to use their Shaheds if this war indeed continues. Okay, that's enough from me for this video. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.